Hey everyone, and welcome to Already Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 1, Episode 10. It's called Haven. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always.
Now, there's something really important to get out of the way here first, isn't there? I think you might know where I'm going with this, because I was right. This had absolutely nothing to do with last episode. It wasn't set up in any meaningful way at all.
I forgot we had that debate. I wasn't thinking
Well,
about
I
it
didn't. I didn't at all. It happened, and I was like, yeah, I knew it.
Never even crossed my mind.
Yeah. Just because you were wrong. You willfully forgot.
No, I'm just not that... What's the word I'm looking for?
Petty.
Petty, yes. I'm not that petty. You said it, not me.
No,
so
you are if you're the one that's right.
Oh, I need the receipts for that. So this episode, we have two things going on, which ultimately collide later in the episode, but they're very separate for a long time. And one of them I felt was kind of oddly underplayed, given one of the
severity
things
of it.
One of the things that's happening is that they're on the way to the planet called Haven. And it's meant to be this paradise, and there's like myths about it being like a healing planet, although no one really believes it. It's just kind of like it's like the Loch Ness Monster. No one believes it. It's just kind of like, you go for the Loch Ness Monster, right?
It's almost a tourism thing.
It's a tourism thing. And they're on their way, and that's fine. There's other plots set up with Troy. We'll get into that in a second, but there's a weird ship approaching the planet. The planet themselves say, hey, there's this ship coming towards us, and we have no defenses of our own, but we've got a treaty with you, so the Federation have to defend us. And Picard's like, of course, yes. Federation, engage, blah, 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 as he does. And
it's a pretty good impression.
It's this ship that appears, and it's got this kind of ball, kind of glowing sort of thing in the middle of it. And it turns out to be of a Tyrillian ship, which, and I did check the name of the race there just to make sure.
I was going to guess, because I wasn't sure you had it in front of you, and I was going to say Talarian.
No. See,
not bad for, off-the-spot memory, though.
So, and this is weird because this race has been seemingly thought dead for as we find out a little bit later, the exact timeline here. They believe the last Talarian ship was destroyed 8 years ago. And the reason why this race died out is because there was two factions in this race, and they were at war, and one unleashed a disease. But it ended up spreading to everyone in the race and killed both. In fact, it sounds like they also accidentally killed a couple of other planets because some of them fled.
Yeah, when they left to try and get away from the war, they were carriers of the disease and spread it.
Yes. So them coming towards this planet is seen as quite dangerous, and the people on the planet are like, no, don't let them land. Come on now. We don't want these disease, as you do. But Picard's like, no, but we also have to protect them. They're an endangered species, essentially, and, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And so this is all fine. But here's the thing. So this sounds like a very serious plot, what's going on here. Yet, every single, it pops in every now and again. But after they have a serious meeting about it, it's like, okay, let's all forget this because Deanna Troy's getting married. Let's forget all this is happening. We'll think about it, even though we're on a 13-hour clock here until the ship arrives. Because they're not at warp speed. They're going slowly on impulse.
Yeah.
So it's taking them years to get to this planet. And like, no, let's ignore all that, and we'll go to the wedding. We'll have the pre-wedding dinner and rehearsal and whatnot. And I'm like,
as you do.
And it was fine at first. It was when it ended that serious meeting with all the main characters, right? And they had that meeting, and it's like, in the meantime, though, we'll turn our attentions to Councillor Troy's upcoming wedding. And I'm like, wait, what? No, delay the wedding. We've got a crisis. What are you doing, Picard?
Crisis smices.
Riker was enjoying some sexy harp playing in his quarters.
He was, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yes, he was leaning back with a smirk in his face. It was kind of unsettling, quite frankly.
Yeah, it was.
Apparently there's been an arranged marriage. Troy was promised to this gentleman who, I actually recognised this actor, but it was like, oh, who is this guy? I'm like, I know this guy. And the reason why it took me a while to clock it, I eventually thought about it. His name's, I think, Robert Kemper, maybe? He was on Prison Break, he was in iZombie, he's in a bunch of stuff. But I know him as being, like, middle-aged and, like, in his 50s. maybe 60s. Obviously here he's much younger and has a full head of long, locks
yes,
in his hair. He looks very different. He's very young, but it's him, and I caught it. Speaking of actors that I recognised in this, of course, it's happening again.
It is, yes.
Because the giant from Twin Peaks is in there. He's the servant to Deanna's mother, who is a bit of a character, shall we say.
Yes, he shows up Picard quite comfortably, doesn't he?
Yes, but he's got super strength, seemingly, compared to humans, because Picard tries to pick up our luggage and is struggling. And instead of just realizing, no, this is not the right, this is too heavy for a human being, he struggles through it and damn near injures his back, try to lug this
I mean,
bag.
you say, oh, it's too heavy. I mean, he's struggling, but he's lifting it and moving it. I think Picard's not the most physically fit and strong man. He's a wiry fella, but he's not built a muscle, is he?
Well, no, I mean, people can technically lift things, but they're still too heavy for them.
No. This is too heavy for Picard. It's not too heavy for just people in general.
No, I think it is. I don't think Riker. I think Riker would be equally uncomfortable carrying this.
I think he'd do a better job.
I mean, forgetting that the actor's got back issues in real life, right? Ignoring that, just Riker's not got that issue. Yeah. Right? Riker looks like a young man who's fit and tall.
Yeah, I think he does a better job.
Maybe he would, but I don't know. But the giant picks it up and he's fine, and it's like it's nothing to him. It's like a normal. Comparable weight, and that's what I mean. It's too heavy for a human. But she's a bit of a character. She kind of treats Picard like a servant and says you may leave now and things like that. And Deanna's mortified by how she's acting, but kind of goes along with it to a point. Until of course the highlight of the episode, of course, is where it almost got a little bit Twin Peaksy with the giant just hitting this gong repeatedly through dinner. It just kept cutting back to him hitting this gong. And I'm like, what's happening? Why is no one addressing this? And then eventually, the guy's mother, because they're human, eventually she did actually say, does he have to do that? And it turns out it's his way of giving thanks for the food we're eating. Okay.
It was so surreal because it went on for ages.
It took a while before they explained it because it was going on for a while.
You just hear him bending down the background and dong.
It almost felt like he was just like he never hit a gong before, so he was getting really into it.
It did, didn't it?
He was also down the drinks quicker than Connor during an episode of Arrow.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
And Data is just kind of bemused by the whole thing. So it turns out that the wedding itself is supposed to be naked. That's the tradition of Deanna's people, is that the wedding, everyone goes naked. And, the guests, the bride, everyone. Which I did notice, the person who reacted to this and got really excited, seemingly, was one Tasha Yar. I just want to point that out.
Of course she did.
She leaned forward, she had a smirk in her face. Everyone else was mortified about having a naked wedding, but Tasha was like, naked, you say? Naked, you say? I did laugh at the end of the episode. I did laugh when Deanna's mother was like joking about Picard being into her. Yeah. She has a couple of legs and then she beams out, and Deanna's like, "Nah, that was a joke, sir. That wasn't."
Yeah, the look on Picard's face though, it's like maybe not entirely.
The second one was definitely a joke. Where she was like, "Oh, nah, even." His father wasn't thinking of me like that, because she reveals at one point that
it was the last servant.
Was it the last servant? Ah, okay.
Yeah.
But also the father-in-law, he was apparently into her as well. So she claims anyway. I know. But we hear earlier on that they're not supposed to lie, but I feel like there was some lying going on here. What is a joke if not a little lie, for humour's sake?
It is, but it's a lie. But with the intent is what makes it a joke and not a lie, right?
Yeah, but Picard wasn't getting it was a joke, so the intent is irrelevant.
Well, but she might think he's getting the intent, and she's just really bad at telling jokes. Yeah, you didn't think about that, did you?
Our race doesn't lie is nothing but a big fat lie in of itself. Makes them the biggest liars that ever was.
Context is everything. It's just vital.
Yeah, so. Yeah, so Diana's father was very close with this human family, and they had these vows a long time ago, which is why they're getting into this arranged marriage. Riker's not happy. Riker is given all sorts of jealous stares in this episode. At one point, he's sitting there like glaring with his jealous stare, which was kind of cracking me up. So this William fellow, I believe that was his name, he's surprised what Deanna looks like.
Yes.
Because he was expecting, because he's been doing drawings of the person he's had in his head this entire time. This sort of curly-haired blonde woman. And it's like, okay, so you've been seeing her since you were a child. I wonder if that'll come up later. It probably will. Let's see. And
who'd have thought?
And of course, eventually, what actually links the two plots together is that they finally, make contact with these the Tyrellians, and it's basically just Terran and aliens. It's not spelled that way, but that's essentially what it is. And sure enough, that woman's one of the people on that ship, and then he, with the motivation just seemingly being that he really wants to like rescue people, but he's also attached to her because he's been dreaming about her his entire life, decides to beam aboard their ship, even though it's probably lethal to him.
Yeah. So none of this makes any sense. One, so she was just projecting to him specifically when he was a kid in the hopes that he'd grow up?
No. You're forgetting one vital detail here.
Go on.
Well, I assume it was her father, but the captain on the Tyrellian ship.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, we just thought you were a dream," implying that even she didn't know that he was real, that she wasn't projecting.
Fine, but she's projected to him specifically, right? Just randomly, and then they both happen to be here now.
Yeah, but it wasn't something she was doing though. Like, I'm not defending it. I'm not saying this is more likely.
Yeah,
but...
I'm not saying she did this.
Yeah, so but they're projecting to each other. It's not just a one-way thing.
Yeah.
So why do you keep phrasing it that it's just her projecting to him? She's been getting visions of him the same way. She even has drawings.
No, I know, but I meant from the context of most of the episode is framed from this side of it. So I was going at it from this angle first.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea that he's dreaming of her and then conveniently grows up to be a doctor and is like, oh, maybe I can save them. But instead of doing what any rational doctor would do of, right, okay, beam us over some samples in, a contained box, that maybe a little bit like a blood sample that we can then study and actually have, in a lab. Mm-hmm. I'll just go over there. It should be cool.
Yeah, but I mean, the Tyrellians, once they see him and go, oh, he's real, they basically just want to take him anyway. They're happy with that. They just want to leave now. He's their angel, their saving grace.
Yeah, see, this also makes sense, because at this point, I don't think they're aware that he's a doctor.
Why do you think I'm arguing this makes sense?
No, you're not. I'm just saying, I just want to get, I'm very impassioned about this.
I'm getting the facts straight as the episode presented them. That is all I'm doing.
It is, and I have strong opinions about the facts.
How could you have strong opinions about this episode? This is like this is the hardest episode to have strong opinions about. It's just stupid.
It baffles me. It makes no sense. That's what my strong opinion is. Bafflement. I don't know if that's a word. But so they're like, yeah, do you know what? We're happy. We want to go down to that planet. We don't want to kill everyone though. Just send us on a little island away from everyone else, and we'll live. Just live out our days and die there, and then jobs are good. This guy that, my daughter's been dreaming about, he's there. He's on that ship. Oh, well, do you want to come over here? And we'll just go. Yeah, that'll be fine. They don't know he's a doctor. They don't know he's going to cure them. They're just like, yeah, well, give us him. Not give us him, and then we'll go down to the planet. It's like, we'll piss off now. We'll carry on floating through space.
And of course, Troy had to kind of fall for him a little bit before this happened. They had a romantic kiss after her touching scene with Riker in the holodeck, as Riker was being very pouty and jealous about the whole thing.
He was. He has no poker face.
And at the end of the episode, Picard's just like, well, I'm happy you're still here with us, Councillor Troy. And then Riker just got this big grin across his face like, yeah, dodged a bullet with that one. All right, engage! LaForge!
Yeah, he looks pretty pleased with himself.
He's happy, yes. Did you enjoy the episode?
Not really. It's one of the weaker ones. It was mostly not offensively bad until the ending, where I was just confused by everything that was happening.
Yeah,
but for the most part, it was just kind of tedious.
The plot is not good at all. I will say, I actually ended up enjoying it more than I thought I would. I saw the screenshot on IMDb when before we at the end of the last episode, and I saw like the woman from the planet and the outfit, I think it was, and I was like, this looks like one of these episodes, where they go to this planet and they're Earth.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those,
right? And then I wasn't necessarily feeling the setup at the start of the episode, but by the time it got to that dinner scene, and it was just like, because at one point at the end of the scene, the in-law mothers were both bickering with each other, and Troy just loses it and starts screaming at them, and stop this bickering. She storms out, and my favorite part of this is she hits over the gong on the way out, but the giant's just standing there being like, "Oh, my gong!"
Yeah. And then she leaves, and Data's just like, Can you carry on the bickering? It was enlightening.
And Tasha's still laughing about the whole thing. It was during this scene where it's like, you know what, I'm actually kind of digging what it's doing with this episode. I don't know if I like Deanna's mother, but she's at least leading to some humour here.
Sure, I found her to be rather grating, personally.
She is pretty grating. But the things that it led to around her tended to be relatively entertaining. So I didn't hate the episode, but it wasn't a good episode, and it didn't have a good plot. And like you say, the ending doesn't make a whole lot of sense. For the most part, it was just kind of... And everyone just kind of accepts that he's made this choice, but his parents are mortified that he's basically just went over to what is likely going to be his slow, painful death.
Yep.
Who knows, maybe he's destined to fix them and heal them. And
oh, don't start going on about destiny. I won't stand for it.
Joe, it's funny, though.
What?
There was no Wesley in this episode.
There wasn't, no.
There's positives to be had. Look in the silver linings, my man. Look in the silver linings.
I will take what I can get.
Also, bizarrely, no Worf. I feel like we missed a beat not having Worf and Deanna's mother in a scene together.
Yeah, that could have been fun.
I feel like he'd have threatened to kill her after about 30 seconds.
I feel like I've been very justified in doing that as well.
Which probably would have been the most I ever related to Worf in my life.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. There you go. That's episode... What was that, 10? 10 episodes in, look at that. That's a milestone.
Flying through them.
Milestone. Episode 10 of Next Generation.
What's next time?
Joe, I was just going to do that. You didn't have to remind me. I was well aware of it.
Just get into the habit of reminding you.
Yeah, there was that woman in the dress. Oh dear, I don't know if it was. So the next one's called The Big Goodbye. And here's the thing. Oh, it's it's one of these episodes. Now, I'm familiar that Next Generation has a few of these.
What do you mean by these?
These types of episodes. So I'll read you the description, and then if you don't get what I mean by that, I'll tell you after. But Captain Picard and some of his crew are caught in a deadly trap in the holodeck as the result of a ship-wide scan from an alien race. So yeah, as I understand it, there's a few episodes of Next Gen where, the holodecks went kind of crazy and we're trapped in here in a world. So instead of going to an Earth-like, world
it just
where
conveniently replicates a desert.
Well, no, not a desert. No, not a desert. I mean, there might be something like that, but no. Remember the episodes where it was like, we're in like gangster Chicago 20s.
Those ones.
Now we're in this in the original series. This is how we do them in the in Next Generation. We do them in the holodeck where it recreates them.
These episodes, okay.
Yes, but I believe Next Gen has a number of holodeck has went dangerous episodes essentially where they're actually in trouble.
Right. Okay.
Due to a malfunction, or in this case, an alien scan. Apparently,
I'm with you.
But I mean, there are pictures here of Data and Picard in fancy hats and suits. So
Wesley better not be in that holodeck.
It looks like we're getting a sort of noir style kind of plot. I hope we get more Sherlock Data. Maybe there'll be a Sherlock themed holodeck episode.
Data, yes.
I can see it. But there you go, that's going to be the next episode. So let us know what you thought of Haven in the comments below. You can like and subscribe, all that stuff, that helps us out. As of course, can over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv, where you can support us for as little as $1 per month. You get some stuff early, including these Star Trek reviews, as well as some bonus stuff. But you can do that. You can also get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz. You can get me on Twitter at Wibble89. You can get Connor on Twitter at ConnorRyan94. It's also worth mentioning, of course, we are reviewing Star Trek Discovery as it airs. Obviously, we're during Season 2 right now. If you listen to the audio feed, there's a separate audio feed. Right now, you're on the Star Wars... not Star Wars. What a weird slip. Right now, you're on the Star Trek Viewers Log Classic series, but there's also...
just unsubscribed.
Let me finish the plug. But if you're on the Classic series feed... then you can go over to the Modern Series feed. It's the same thing. It's the Star Trek Modern Series, or Viewers Log Modern Series, and that's got the Discovery. And it'll also have future stuff like the new Picard show, the new animated series, all that kind of stuff. But if you're on YouTube, you just find Discovery. It's easy.
Yeah, it's just there.
But that is it. So thank you very much once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching Star Trek and sci-fi TV and all that other stuff. And to everyone but Connor, live long and prosper.